Hello, welcome to my new series called Highly Unqualified, where I speak about a variety of issues, circumstances, fabrications, news items, all kinds of things that I am not qualified to speak about, and yet I continue to do so. My coping mechanism lately for speaking about things I'm highly unqualified to talk about is to go on the TikToks and go live and give some kind of sermon on the mount. So I will pick a subject and I will bloviate about that until I lose 30 followers, and then I'm done. So I decided that maybe I could offshoot that and put that here and stop myself from doing that, because at least on here, well, I guess you could do that on there too. I always get this feeling like I have people trapped like bugs under a glass, but that doesn't work that way. Y'all can just swipe away, and probably already have by now. So my first subject is a subject that I have covered quite a bit over on the TikToks in my lives, and it's regarding raising a teenager, which is something that my husband and I are doing right now. We're raising his granddaughter, who is 16. And I have raised a son who is now well into his majority. He's married and doing great. And it is interesting to have that perspective from having raised a kid and then matured up myself a little bit. Now, plop, I'm in it again. And there are some things that I realized that I did wrong with my son. I wish I could go have a do-over. And then there are other things that I know I did wrong, but don't know any better. I just know that I should know better. Doesn't mean I'm going to educate myself or attempt to do it better. It just means like, oh, well, I guess I can't do that. So it's kind of serious because I made notes. Oh my God, we have notes. It's mainly just to keep me from meandering around. Two main points. One, when you have a kid, what you give up in trouble, you get back in worry. So when they're little, obviously you are the primary caretaker for them in every aspect, every way. So as they mature and they're able to be a little more independent, you give up that trouble, but you get that back usually twofold in worry. And that's the way it kind of stays forever, I'm guessing, probably. So because you have to trust that they're doing the best for themselves, and sometimes they're really not, but there's nothing you can do about it. The other stump speech point that I always make is that everything is communication, and I believe that wholeheartedly to the bottom of my little tippy toes up to my frizzy hair, that everything that we do is communication, whether we are thinking in that respect or not. The clothes that we wear, the words that we choose, our demeanor, the situation we place ourselves, all of that is communication. So we are all externalized beings, even if we're introverted. You interact in the space that you are. So keeping those tenets in mind, raising a teenager is that a lot of their behavior that seems so exhausting to us is a form of communication, whether they know it or not. But it's up to you, that you're the adult, that even if they're blatting out through their behaviors or actions or inactions, certain things, and they're not thinking, I'm communicating this, is that we need to receive it as a form of communication. They are trying to tell us something. They are trying to tell themselves something. And occasionally, they will need a guiding light to point out, hey, this thing that you're doing, it means something. Or you not doing this means something. We also have to keep that in mind, that that is what's going on, and it's awfully hard not to take some of this stuff personally, because we're human beings that are worthy of dignity and respect, just like anybody else. A teenager won't always see it that way because they are exceedingly egocentric, but they're supposed to be. So that brings me to my other point, that if you are familiar with me on TikTok and in my life when I get on this speech, I say this all the time. It is not a teenager's fault, or a child's fault for that matter, for taking as much as they can take, for doing as little as they can do and get away with it, for having an expectation that they will have all of their needs met, sometimes without gratitude. All of that stuff is sort of their job. Their job as an animal is to get as many resources and as many things for themselves, utilizing as little energy as they possibly can. So if they can do that by being sullen, or if they can do it by being loud, or if they can do it by just being non-compliant and get a whole bunch of stuff, then they are learning that this is a good way to negotiate. Now it's up to us as the adults in the room to go, I see what you're doing here, and no, this isn't going to get you whatever you want, whether it's more leisure time or more resources, that they have you buy something or spend your time or whatever, caretaking, whatever it is that they're speeching for. It's up to us to show them that this form of adaptation just isn't going to work. It's not going to get them quality that they're looking for. A lot of the times too, and I've had to remind myself, this is a recent epiphany that I had. Again, I'm highly unqualified. Is that it is when you have a not adult person in your home that is fully functional, and you're fairly certain if they were thrust out in the world, they would be okay-ish. They know, they have enough common sense to how to take care of things and do things. And yet they're choosing not to. Trying to take a step back and figure out why they're not doing it beyond the reason that I was just saying, that they're trying to get resources without expending resources, is that I think sometimes this attitude of taking 2 steps back from our 2 steps forward is maybe that feeling that they have inside of them that they just need a little more parenting, that they just need a little bit more time to be a child in whatever the situation is. Maybe they just need more attention. And I know that sometimes that is really hard to accommodate. Like we're all stressed out and we're all stretched thin. I have not a lot of energy. I'm an older person, so having more demands of my time that I need to coddle somebody or bring somebody along or slow it down or physically do some things that they should be capable of doing for themselves, it's a little galling. It's also a little hard to know when to go, it's like what I was saying, to go, nope, nice try. But this isn't going to get you what you need. But if you're a compassionate human being and you're fairly certain that could be at the crux of it, that they just need a little bit more attention and they just need to have some reinforcers that they are worth spending that time and energy on, that it might be the best way to do. It might be best to lean into it, because then they don't have to ratchet up their game and say, okay, that didn't work. Now I'm going to get this extra focus and time and energy on something negative. Like I'll act out in a negative way to try to get your attention. What's interesting to me about all of this is the fact that that the person that's engaged in that behavior is totally unaware that that's what's happening. And in fact, if you brought that up to them that way, like if you just want to spend some more time with you, or you just want to have some more caretaking, you can just say that or whatever, and they would look at you like you were nuts. But fundamentally, I think a lot of the times that's all it is, that they just want to know that you're still in their corner, that they still can have somebody take care of them if they need to, and that they can start to try to be independent, and they don't have to be frightened that they're going to lose their support base if they demonstrate that they can't do all of these things for themselves. I think that's the situation I'm finding myself in right now. It's this fear that the person that we're raising may have, that if she becomes too independent, then she's going to lose that support system, and that becomes very scary for her. And I can understand that. I am sympathetic. At the times when I miss my mom, not that my mom was the most supportive of person. She was a very sweet lady, but not exactly filling in the gaps in that way. But it's that longing that I don't think we ever exactly get over, of somebody that will love us in an unqualified manner and would move the universe for us if they had the capability of doing so. You miss that. So I don't blame her for wanting to extend that time a little bit more. But I am still exhausted. So that is the end of the introductory Highly Unqualified. Thank you.